Hello, and welcome to GameTales. Dragon Age, the Grey Wardens, and the Blights. The Maker smiles sadly on his Grey Wardens, so this entry says, as no sacrifice is greater than theirs. The Grey Wardens are an order of warriors of exceptional ability, dedicated to fighting Darkspawn throughout Thedas. They are headquartered in the very place of their founding, Wisehout Fortress in the Anderfels, but maintain a presence in most other nations as well. The Grey Wardens are known for ignoring a recruit's racial, social, national, and even criminal background if they deem the person valuable in terms of character, ability, or skill. Despite their small numbers, the Grey Wardens have been instrumental in defeating each Blight so far, and thus are vital to the survival of the world as a whole. You will guard them, and they will hate you for it. Whenever there is not a Blight actively crawling over the surface, humanity will do its best to forget how much they need you. And that's good. We need to stand apart from them, even if they have to push us away to make us do it. That is the only way we can ever make the hard decisions. The first Blight. The first Blight began in -395 ancient and lasted 192 years. The deep roads, underground highways built by dwarves were swarmed with monstrous creatures that became known as Darkspawn. These creatures seemed limitless in number and spread a taint that infected other living creatures, mutating them into monsters, and corrupted and poisoned the very environment around them. The cult of the Maker claimed that this was a result of the Tevinter Magisters entering the Fade through a ritual attempting to usurp the throne of the Maker in the Golden City, although this theory has been disputed by others, most notably the dwarves. Nevertheless, this invasion of Darkspawn, named the Blight, soon destroyed most of the underground kingdoms of the dwarves and spread to the surface. Thedas was in chaos and entered a dark age. The Darkspawn were found to be led by an immensely powerful dragon tainted with Darkspawn corruption. This creature was named an archdemon and believed to be one of the old gods worshipped by Tevinter. At Wisehout's fortress in the desolate Anderfels, a meeting transpired. Soldiers of the Imperium, seasoned veterans who had known nothing their entire lifetimes except war, came together. When they left the Wisehout, they had renounced their oaths to the Imperium, calling themselves the Grey Wardens. They swore that they would accept anyone, no matter their race or background, without distinction, if only deemed suitable to join their order. The Wardens began an aggressive campaign against the Darkspawn, reclaiming lands that most had given up for lost. They proved to be a desperately needed spark of hope in the darkest of hours, and quickly gained renown. During the next 100 years, humanity slowly managed to stand firm and push back the Blight. Finally, in -203 ancient, the Grey Wardens gathered an allied army composing of soldiers from Tevinter Imperium, the tribes of Sirene, and Ravane to confront the Darkspawn horde, led by the archdemon now identified as Jumat. A massive battle was waged at the Silent Plains in what is now the border between Tevinter and Navarra. The Legion of Darkspawn was defeated, and Jumat was slain by the Grey Wardens. With the Archdemon's death, the Horde's will to fight was broken. It took several years to eradicate the remaining Darkspawn from the surface, but the Blight was over, and the Grey Wardens had carved out their legend. After the Battle of the Silent Plains, they were much celebrated, and most nations gave formal promises of support for further Darkspawn invasions. They were also given the right of conscription to guarantee sufficient recruits. The Second Blight. In 1.5 Divine, approximately 200 years since the slaying of Jumat, the Archdemon Zazicael rose to lead the Second Blight. The entire city of Nordbottom, the very place where the Grey Wardens first appeared on the battlefield, was destroyed before a defence could be organised. The Tevinter Imperium withdrew from the Anderfels, abandoning it as an attempt to protect central Tevinter. The Anderfels region was hard hit, and even the Grey Warden headquartered in Weishaupt became under siege by the Darkspawn. Fortunately, the armies of the recently founded Orlesian Empire, under the command of Emperor Cordelius Draken I, proved both motivated and capable of standing up to the Blight. After several victories against the Darkspawn, Dracon's army lifted the siege of Weishaupt in 133 Divine, and proceeded to save the rest of the Anderfels together with the Wardens. The Anderfels joined the Orlesian Empire, and the Grey Wardens converted to the Chantry. The Archdemon Zazicael was finally confronted and slain by the Grey Warden Corrin in 195 Divine at Starkhaven in the Three Marches. The Third Blight. The Third Blight began with the awakening of Toth in 310 Towers, roughly 115 years after the last Blight. The initial Darkspawn attacks occurred in central Thedas, in Tevinter and Orlais, but even though the hordes were larger than those previously encountered, a rapidly organised defence led by the Grey Wardens managed to hold them back. The Darkspawn attacks started to focus on the more lightly defended Three Marches, while Tevinter and Orlais tried to remain neutral, but pressure from the Grey Wardens eventually brought them into the war. The Darkspawn horde was crushed at Hunterfell and the Three Marches in 325 Towers, and Toth was slain by the Grey Wardens. The Third Blight remained a relatively short event compared to previous Blights. The Fourth Blight. There are few records of Grey Warden activity before the next 200 years, until Andorral awakened and the Fourth Blight began in 512 Exalted. Most of the damage was to the east of the traditional Grey Warden territory, in the Three Marches, Antiva and Ravane. But the Anderfels was also attacked, and Hosberg, not far from Weishaupt, came under siege. This time both Tevinter and Orlais were lightly attacked and refused to send aid. The hero of the Fourth Blight was an elven Grey Warden named Garahel, who first led the liberation of Hosberg in 520 Exalted, and then managed to gain an army from the Three Marches to support the Grey Wardens after a long and bloody war. Garahel's army marched north and faced the main horde in 524 Exalted at Islay, where Garahel perished after personally slaying Anderel. The Grey Wardens' legendary griffins died out sometime after the fourth Blight. The fifth Blight. The fifth Blight occurred in 930 Dragon in the nation of Ferelden. The Blight's origins began with the taking of the old god Ufremiel during a botched experiment by the architect to awaken it. The Darkspawn Ramble organised into an army under the Archdemon's banner and launched their attack upon the surface. Hostilities began in southern Ferelden, at the edge of the Kokoria Wilds. The first major event of the war took place at the fortress of Ostagar, where the king of Ferelden, Caelan Ferran, had assembled an army to fight the Darkspawn horde. Despite the assurance of the Grey Wardens, the Ferelden commanders did not believe at the time that an archdemon had risen, and the threat was dismissed. The Battle of Ostagar proved to be a critical point in the war. The king, the Grey Wardens, and the Ferelden army were betrayed and left to die by Turnlocane MacTyr during a major Darkspawn assault on the fortress. Loghain fled the battlefield with his forces and returned to the capital, where he usurped the throne, refused entry at the border to the Elysian Grey Warden reinforcements, and sparked the Ferelden Civil War. With Ostagar overrun, the Horde was free to enter Ferelden proper. Ferelden would have been at the mercy of the Darkspawn advance, were it not for the survival of two Ferelden Grey Wardens and the infiltration into the country by an Elysian Grey Warden. The Ferelden Grey Wardens were able to evade assassination attempts and assemble a coalition of dwarves, Dalish, golems, circle mages, Templars, soldiers from Redcliffe, and the werewolves to combat the Archdemon forces. Additionally, the Grey Wardens supported the Ferelden royalists, who removed Loghain from power through diplomatic rather than military means, and thus put an end to the civil war. The fifth Blight culminated in the Battle of Denerim, where the Archdemon was slain by the Wardens at the top of Fort Draken. It was the shortest in history, stopped before it had a chance to gain its full momentum.